I left the absolutely charming accommodation in Duilhac. After eating the most delicious breakfast a hiker could wish during the hike. The morning was a bit cloudy, and I just had to hope that the weather forecast wouldn't lie and it wouldn't rain until midday. That way I might be able to explore the Peyrepertuse castle on the top of the mountain. However, the weather forecast for the afternoon promised thunderstorms, volcanoes and other apocalyptic disasters. So I put on my rain gear. Unfortunately, my tent was not ready for such weather conditions, so I had booked another accommodation for the night in the small village of Prugnanes. I had to make a detour of about 4 kilometers to visit the Peyrepertuse castle. But considering that this castle is one of the most important Cathar castles, I couldn't skip it. Entrance to the castle, 8 euros. Climb from the ticket office through the cliff-lined path was interesting. I didn't lose the feeling that every moment I will walk in some Cathar ambush, and bolts from crossbows or rolling stones from a bow will make my life much more difficult. A truly historical feeling. Peyrepertuse is a ruined 11th century fortress and one of the so-called Cathar castles, located high in the French Pyreneans. At the time of the Albigensian Crusade, it was the fief of Guillaume de Peyrepertuse, who, not wanting to submit, was excommunicated in 1224. He did finally submit after the failure of the siege of Carcassonne in 1240, and the castle became a French possession in the same year. The castle was quite large in size and consisted of several sections. In the distance, a blanket of rain clouds had already covered the mountains and became closer and closer. Then the storm warning signal on my Garmin watch beeped. This meant that I had to move on quickly, because I still had a long way to go. The cute worms marching in a line are actually dangerous parasites that threaten the pine tree population. And they are also a threat to humans and animals, especially dogs. The spring on the map turned out to be not very clean, and I had to move on without water. My plans included visiting the beautiful Galamus Gorge, so I chose to cross the large cliffs above the Pech de Azou to get to the beginning of the Galamus Gorge. 250-meter climb ahead. By climbing up the steep mountain, I was finally caught by a storm. The last 40 meters up were a practically vertical climb over large boulders. I had to stay out of the wind at times to keep my balance. Luckily for me, the wind was blowing from the opposite direction. If it had been the other way, the harsh wind would have easily blown me off the cliff. Despite the harsh conditions, the daffodils continued to fight for their existence. And I had to keep fighting too. But I urgently needed to find a place to sit down and eat a juicy tangerine. I had been on the road for 5 hours without stopping, and my strength was starting to run out. The view from the top of the Galamus Gorge was impressive. Far, far below, I noticed an asphalt road winding through the Galamus Gorge. I had to get down to this road. After 6 hours and 15 minutes on the trail, I finally reached the asphalt road. By going through this gorge, you realize how small you really are. And if I hadn't taken a detour around the big mountain, I wouldn't have seen any of this. The weather continued to deteriorate, and the temperature in the gorge was so low that I froze my fingers completely and could barely move them. Despite the narrow road, the cars were driving fast and aggressively. That's why hikers should be careful. A little off the road, the path led down to Hermitage Saint-Antoine. I warmed up with a hot coffee in the souvenir shop. And I also managed to buy a small can of Coca-Cola Zero. In the distance I could see the town of Saint-Paul-de-Fenouillet, which certainly had shops and cafes. But the hike was never about comfort. So, having saved a few euros, I had booked a cheaper accommodation in the middle of nowhere. The signpost showed 1 hour and 40 minutes, which was much longer than I expected. It was clear that the weather would not improve, and I had to reach the accommodation in Prugnanes by dark. In a hurry, I didn't even put my rain pants. As a result, my softshell pants got completely soaked. Fortunately, the accommodation had a dryer, so I dried my wet clothes there.